This is a very special side event for us. We're very also pleased to have His Excellency Mr. Peter Mohan Maestri Pieris with us as the ambassador of the Sri Lanka Permanent Mission, but also as the president of the high-level committee on South-South cooperation. Before we move with our agenda, I want to acknowledge his leadership and his dedication and his, hosting with us today this very special event on the role of South-South and triangle cooperation as an effective means towards accelerating the achievement of the 2030 agenda and the SDGs, and how to translate the policies into action at the regional and the country level. So today we will be having not only the side of the work that we're doing on the different corporate policies, but also how are we translating this into action. And we're very happy to have many colleagues from the UN system, but also speakers who are online with us, who will also give us a flavor on how this is being applied. So without further ado, let me pass it to you, Excellency, so we could also move ahead with our agenda. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Director, Madam Dima Al-Khatib, resident coordinators, delegates, ladies and gentlemen, both in person and online. Thank you for joining with us this afternoon. I'm quite a stranger to South-South cooperation, quite frankly. Yeah, but in the last few weeks or months, perhaps, I've had the privilege of being associated with the director and her team, who has given us perhaps an introduction to flavor this whole concept of South-South cooperation. In my capacity as the incumbent president of the high-level committee of South-South cooperation, I'm happy to welcome all of you to this event on the sidelines of the high-level political forum on sustainable development that we have been playing out this whole week. At the outset, I thank the United Nations Office of South-South Cooperation and the United Nations Development Cooperation Office for their efforts in getting this meeting together, and putting this together. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, the subject area being explored today in this side event is very relevant to these organizations and to us, countries of the global South, on the sidelines of the HLPF, which is aimed at preparing for the Sustainable Development Goals Summit in the September to come. Now, we recall that the Executive Committee chaired by the Secretary General in August of 2020 endorsed the UN system-wide strategy on South-South and triangular cooperation to provide system-wide policy orientation to the United Nations entities to increase the impact of such cooperation and better position the United Nations to coordinate policies and programmatic coordination amongst existing mechanisms. Now, the UNGA resolutions on South-South cooperation, A/RES/76, 2021, which you're all familiar with, whilst endorsing the Buenos Aires outcome document in resolution 76/20 185 encourages the United Nations entities to support developing countries in integrating development cooperation initiatives, thereby giving a strong mandate to the United Nations system and regional commissions to implement a strategy at regional and country levels. Now, today, in keeping with that mandate, the United Nations Office of South-South Cooperation will shortly present to us guidelines to be issued to the United Nations country teams and regional UN development entities on the integration of South-South cooperation into the United Nations Sustainable Development Cooperations Framework and regional collaborative frameworks. Now, these guidelines have been prepared through, as you know, a consultative process. Ladies and gentlemen, we have examples of this in India, in Brazil, in South Africa. We have several other examples, such as the China Horn of Africa initiative and the UNCTs in the Philippines and Thailand. Ladies and gentlemen, at a time when member states have gathered to discuss the ways and means of rescuing the SDGs and undertaking firm commitments domestically and globally, it is pertinent that we incorporate into the discussion the ways and means of injecting more strongly the methods of harnessing South-South and triangular cooperation into these efforts, particularly into the United Nations systems. So this side event is also a response to the interest expressed at the recently held 21st session of the High-Level Committee of South-South Cooperation in May and June 2023 by member states to increase the visibility of the impact and importance of South-South and triangular cooperation. So towards this end, we have with us today speakers from the resident coordinator system of the United Nations who will share examples of the incorporation of such an approach in development cooperation and its potential to support the work of the United Nations system as a whole in its work with national governments. So through these speakers and ensuring and the ensuing discussions at this side event, it is hoped to demonstrate the potential for the United Nations system to support government endeavors where they perceive South-South and triangular cooperation to be effective in achieving their development goals and enhance the understanding of the contribution of such cooperation. So we will hear from them. Resident coordinators stationed in India, Mr. Shram Bishop, and in Saudi Arabia, Dr. Rita Columbia, and also from the current senior advisor on small island developed states to the UNOPS. To begin with, therefore, without further ado, I invite our director, Madam Dima, to take the floor. The floor is yours, ma'am. Thank you.